People think that retail is an anathema, and for us, it's been a blessing.
Yeah, I don't think it is, and I do a lot of retail with this show. I think it's a matter of you, and that's what the differentiator is there.
Right.
And that's what people forget. Brick and mortar, people love brick and mortar.
They do.
You gotta give them a reason to love the brick and mortar, though.
You gotta have people, product, process, as Marcus Lemonis says.
Yeah, you can't open the door, and you see that time and time again. A great concept's a great concept, but a great concept dies if you're not that concept.
Yes.
It's you. You are that center, and you have to disseminate you through your employees, and you guys are a two-headed monster in that beautiful way, right? Because it's both.
It's very kind of you, but it's just...
No, but it's true. It's both of you guys that make this what it is, and that balance that you have too. I see this time and time again. Like if you were just left
In 2004, I was in Houston, Texas, and I was visiting with some friends, and I saw these awesome Indian clothes that I wanted to buy for Seema and the kids. And they've got an amazing boutique in Houston, lots of them. All
authentic.
Cultural, authentic clothing. So instead of bringing them back with me on the plane, I wanted to surprise her and ship them back.
Right.
So I found a nearby shipping center for FedEx. And I walked in, and it happened to be an accountant's office. It was very dingy, and it was very gross, and it was very, very transactional. And he happened to do shipping. It was in the same plaza that I bought the clothes, so it was convenient.
But those places are peppered all through the country too.
They are.
And they're weird.
Correct.
I don't know what you mean.
There's about 5,200 of those places.
Right.
We're very thankful to be of the top 3 now FedEx authorized shipping centers. At that time in 2004, I had a vision in my mind that, this guy's just not doing it right. There's got to be a better way to do this business model and do it value added, do it relationship based, do it awesome, authentic, appreciative, and community based. That is where everything started. That was the incubation.
So, literally from this one visit?
From this one visit.
So did you have a bad experience, or was it just odd and off-putting?
So I was doing but I was doing e-commerce at the time, and I had a FedEx account. So the experience was terrible, and the price was exorbitantly high. So it's just a perfect storm of bad and worse.
Right.
That's what happened. So I'm thinking to myself, you go to Disney, you pay $45 for parking. That's very high, but you don't mind because the experience lasts a lifetime. So the experience that's amazing makes the price that much more worth it. This guy's experience was terrible, and on top of that, so I felt like I got robbed.
Right.
And which I probably did.
Right.
And so I asked, and I knew how much I was getting, so I went on my phone, little dingy phone that I had because it was before the iPhone, and it had internet on it. And I went and I looked up some pricing, and I found out that, this was exorbitantly high. And the guy told me all these things about, they don't really do shipping, and this is not his business. And
yet it was still an authorized
shipping center. And I'm thinking to myself, why?
Yeah, what?
Why are you even doing this?
Right. Was it just him? Really? Did we just gonna? That's okay. So it was just him though. He's an accountant. He's just sitting at his desk, and you walk in, and there's a pile. He
saw an opportunity. This wasn't really his model. There wasn't a pile of boxes. I can't remember if it was during tax season because it may have been.
Right.
So he's just don't bother me, right? And I'm just praying that my packages get there because, I went to an accountant's office who's busy with his taxes to ship a package.
Right.
So fast forward a year, in 2005, we had decided in 2004 to move to Buffalo. And in 2005, we actually moved here to Grand Island. And when I moved here, I had the opportunity, I contacted FedEx and I said, there's no FedEx in my area. There's nothing here for 15 miles. There was nothing in Niagara Falls. Everything had shut down. The closest one is FedEx office on Sheridan, across from the Boulevard Mall.
So that's really, I didn't even think about that. But this was at that time.
In 2005.
So in 2005, we're kind of looking at an open market.
Right.
Right.
Because that experience was indelible.
Right.
I couldn't erase it from my memory. I really felt it. And from the very beginning, I was ordering over the phone in catalogs in the 80s.
Sure.
I've always been into boxes and shipping and things. I loved ordering online. I never liked shopping even when shopping was a thing.
You kind of just like the whole experience. It's
Yeah.
something showing up at your door.
Loved it. Loved it. From the very beginning. I loved sending packages. I loved receiving packages. I was a packaging guy. I mean, my FedEx account is from the time that my father was alive. It's one of the legacies of my dad since 1989. That's how old my FedEx account is. So it has that history.
Right. And I think that generally across the course of the arc of this business, it is a thing. And I'm going to draw an odd line to something, but the kids, I know that you know what's coming in the box, right? We get that. But we're conditioned from childhood up to open gifts and to open things and that thrill of like getting something in the mail and like it comes to you and I didn't have to go out and I saw the picture, I saw it, I ordered it, it came to me and I get to have this experience.
Yes.
So I think that tactile ease of receiving
absolutely
flows into what's become a huge boom now, right?
Oh, it's absolutely.
But you're one of
and I mean I had an AOL account, and when the first online model came through with that little disc saying that you're going to be able to put this little disc in, see some products on a screen, and order them, and I was totally on board. I was one of the non-naysayers. I wasn't. No, I really knew that this was great. Now I wasn't on board with email, but that's a different story. Anyway, so 2005, we move in, and I contacted FedEx, and they said, yes, we have this account, we have this availability. You can be what is called an FASC, or a FedEx Authorized Ship Center.
Okay.
And that is an independently authorized shipping outlet to sell FedEx products.
Okay.
And I was selling leather gifts at the time.
Yes,
the company
out of a garage.
Out of a garage on Baseline Road.
And it was a garage of your house, or was it?
No, it was a rented storage unit for e-commerce. Because I was doing e-commerce way back when. Because
wait. So So there you go.
Right.
So wait, So
I was selling leather gifts online.
2005, you were already selling leather goods.
Yes.
Yeah, we started leather in 1998.
The company started in 1998 as a catalog company.
Yeah.
And in 2000, I launched a Yahoo store online.
Yahoo store.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 2000.
Remember those?
In November 2000.
I forgot about that.
Absolutely. And it was quite successful.
Yeah,
it's just
there's no competition.
Right. And then
it's awesome.
correct.
You got the market. Mm-hmm. So let's dial back one more time. Why leather?
Leather was something that I came into. My father was in 1997. My father was sick with cancer and dying, and I was trying everything. We were trying all the different cures in the United States, and I found out about a doctor in what is now southern India called Chennai, but at the time it was called Madras.
Okay.
Right? The city's changed names, and there was a doctor who was providing homeopathic and Ayurvedic medicine, and I said, why not?
Right.
People go to Mexico for cures in different places. But at this point, what do we have to lose? So he was on chemo, he was doing the radiation, he was doing everything else. Nothing's getting better. He had esophageal cancer. The chances of that even now are second to none to survive because it was found so late.
Okay.
So I traveled via Dubai. My uncle lived in Dubai at the time, to India. And in Dubai, I found a leather supplier who was selling leather gifts and accessories.
Okay.
In Europe. And he said, if you were to market these in America, how would you do it? And I said, well, I really don't know how to do it on a retail. I had no retail experience. I would do them in a catalog base. Because I was a catalog buyer.
Right.
So I thought, hindsight is 2020.
Sure.
I thought wrongly that this could sell through a catalog. I was at the cusp of where digital and analog photography analog and digital photography were moving. So digital photography was slowly taking over. So my first catalog of creative leather concepts was made the old-fashioned way with all the different photography and in my basement. And I went and paid exorbitant amounts of money in Long Island and to make a catalog. And if I could probably. So it was called Trans World Trading and Services, DBA, Creative Leather. And then Creative Leather was finally born in 1998. In June of 1998, the same month that my father passed away. Which is why, Tony, the Isalnd Ship Center is a DBA of Creative Leather Concepts, Inc.
Okay.
Because that company is rooted in my father's memory.
Oh, beautiful tribute.
Yeah.
It will always stand.
Yes.
You know.
And that's really where I get my strength from. And I get my resilience and optimism and the will to move on and to go towards greater heights and to live his legacy, because my father was all about pushing the boundaries from mediocrity to excellence.
Yes, and we discussed that twice already
Right.
with you, because that's kind of you. That isn't kind of you, that is you. You know what I mean? And that is you. That is both of you guys.
Definitely.
That's what you built, that's what your customers experience, that's what your help
Yes.
gets indoctrinated into. They swim in this beautiful pool that you guys have created, and it's everything. And it's no different. I think we're all sourced, our lineage is so important, and our influence of our heritage. And my dad was the same way. He was like a beacon of light in his life and his community and his family, and your dad was probably the same way.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that influence just shines, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's something that you can't learn some of these things. They're ingrained, they're inborn, you don't know where they come from, but they're there. It's something that comes naturally to me, and I get it. So, ironically, in order for me to realize where it came from, I had to lose my father, sadly.
Well, me too.
Right.
was
I remember you
25.
right.
Yeah, I did
Yes.
the same thing. That moment changes your entire life.
It does.
And you can't go backwards, and you start to assess and integrate, right?
Yeah. So I contacted FedEx, and they said, yes, if you have, you just need a counter and a retail station and a cash register, and you can start with our services. So I integrated a counter, and in 2006 of April 5th actually, so April 2nd, my fifth child, my last child was born, my daughter, she's my FedEx baby. She was born here at Suburban Hospital in Buffalo, and, in Williamsville, for all those people.
Okay.
And 3 days after my last child was born, we opened Isalnd Ship Center on April 5th, 2006.
Wow. And you're coming up on another anniversary.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
So,
Yeah, and it'll be 14 years this year.
wow.
And for 7 years, I made no money as a shipping center.
Right.
And people need to understand that. I supported myself through my online income. I did whatever it took for me to support myself. I did drop shipping as an internet retailer. I was one of the first stores on Amazon, believe it or not. I was doing FBA when FBA was a thing.
Wow.
People thought FBA was a curse.
Yeah.
So fulfillment by Amazon came along after I signed up for Amazon. So my Seller Central account, which I just let go a couple of years ago, unbeknownst to me, I could have sold it, but that's a different story.
I didn't know that.
And it had just stellar reviews, and we did it. We sold. I imported briefcases and leather accessories from India, sold at really great prices, and supported myself and my family
Wow.
through that time when no one was coming in. So with a FedEx and a fax and a closet and a dream, with resilience, optimism, empathy, collaboration, and community service, that's how we were able to get the word out in our community and work with it. And in 2015,
Okay.
everything changed. Everything then came together. That snowball effect really
Right.
turned into what is almost like an avalanche of positivity and growth in our community.
Because of your expansion.
Because of not just the expansion didn't happen until 2016.
Okay.
Because of the learning that we did every year, we're just learning and growing and doing.
Right.
But we had no mentors in the business. We had a lot of mentors outside
Right.
who knew about business, but we didn't have in the industry mentors.
Right.
So we signed up finally in 2015 for 2 industry organizations. And we got memberships with both of them. We attended a trade show in Las Vegas, and it was a do or die situation where we said,
Well, up to that point, like you said, you have been supporting yourself with other, right?
Correct.
You were doing the leather still.
Yes.
And you were doing drop shipping, you were doing Amazon. So you were
Everything.
doing as much as you could.
right, eBay.
Right. Really?
Yes,
God.
I still have, so my current eBay, by the way, Isalnd Ship Center on eBay is now being run by my son Yusuf.
Really?
It's got 1,100 positive reviews. It's a 100% account, and he's selling different things on there.
Wow.
So because it's part of his training as an MBA student at Medaille.
Wow. There you go. And it was
So,
already set up.
it was already set
It's
up.
a great way for him to integrate.
It was a perfect segue.
So all of this stuff is kind of happening, and the ship center is still staying afloat, but it's not popping yet.
It's not popping yet. But unbeknownst to me, what's happening is things are resonating. So I'm being written up in the paper for all this positive news or trying to support the community. I also, one of the greatest things that happened to me was a blessing. I consider it a blessing, a good fortune, what have you. And that was, I joined the Chamber of Commerce and I signed up, to be on their board of directors. And for 6 years, I was on the board of directors. 2 of those years, I was executive director as second vice president. And I got to know the community, and the community got to know me.
Yeah, well, it really steeps you in
Right.
and the inside of what's really truly happening, and allows you to contribute in a wholly subversive way.
Right.
Right. Because nobody knows, what goes on in the Chamber of Commerce, really.
Right.
And you can affect your community and your business community that way.
Yes.
So.
And then that's what I physically, actively learned, that the secret to living is giving. The more I gave of my time, talent, value, effervescence.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Right? The more I gave, the more I actually turned into what is now the brand of Fahim Fix, where someone actually dubbed this for me. They said, you just provide a fix. It's a legal drug of motivation, inspiration, upliftment, and rejuvenation. And I made it and so I went with it. And every week I am impacting people just authentically by giving of myself and positivity to them. To me, it's almost a drug. If I don't give of myself, I don't feel good. So that's my high.
I completely get that.
You get it?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, this, and then selling, which isn't really selling because I don't charge much, and then putting a show together, and then just the halo aspect of what you do and who you are, and it's your glow, right? And then it's your light, and you give that light to people,
right?
And somebody comes in and they're having the worst day they've had in 6 months, and you're positive, you're uplifting, you're encouraging. They do that with them.
And so at this time, we're going to segue, because most women who are going to be watching this are going to be like, well, what about Seema? Well, yes, that's the secret sauce. She's the secret sauce. That's why she's #Seema Solves. In end of 2013, she had enough, and she's like, Fahim, we've got to do something.
2013?
Yes, it's 2013. And at the end, and she's like, let's let go of all of your part-timers, and I am joining the business, and I'm going to do what it takes.
Now, what was Seema doing before?
She was a stay-at-home mother.
Because you got 5 kids.
We had 5 kids.
Homeschooling our kids.
The 2 younger ones were 4 and 5, or 3 and 4.
Right.
There were 3 and 4,
Wow.
and the 2
You had
younger
your
ones.
hands full.
Yeah.
That's a classroom. Right? It's a small classroom.
3 and 4, and there were activities, just running around with them. The older ones and the younger ones, I had started preschool with them.
Wow.
And
but now you're just like, we got it.
yes.
Because we're in this loop. You're in a loop.
Yes, we're in a loop, and we weren't getting out of that little loop that was a pain.
Yeah, no, listen,
And
my business goes through, I think all businesses and all entrepreneurs, my parents went through it, I go through it, I see friends do it, I see a lot of my clients do it. You do this, and you're spiraling up, and sometimes you might go down a little bit, and sometimes you're just in this traction area, you're just like, what is going on?
Yeah, our loop was way down there, and we're just like,
get me out.
we couldn't get out of that
Yeah, because
hole.
you're working super, you got everything going on, and then you're at home with the kids, and you're like, we gotta scale our lives. So now it's 2013. What occurs in 2013 that leads you to go to that conference, or 2014? Was it a slow?
So the girls turn 8 and 9, and then 10, and so when the youngest are 9 and 10 years old, she comes and joins the business, and 2014 she's trying to understand the business. It took her over a year to understand that the business needs help, and there's much more in terms of infrastructure that is needed in the business than I was willing to put in, or willing to admit at the time even.
Right.
Part of greatness, or someone's greatness, is admitting when they're at fault, and admitting that their weaknesses need to be compensated. That's part of greatness.
And so that is, I think, the stumbling block for millions and millions of people. And, you know, you have to. It's okay. Ask for help. Learn.
Right.
Somebody who might not know your business is going to have an amazing perspective on your business. Just because they don't know your business doesn't mean they don't know what's wrong with your business. Because the clarity that an objective human being can have of walking into a situation and saying, oh, that's just weird. And you're like, that's the way we've always done it.
Right.
You know, and they're like, well, no.
Right.
You know, so that, whether it's a relationship or whether it's a business or friendship, there's always these like moments where you have to just not be, you know, you can't have your ego in it.
Right.
Right. So you kill your ego.
You've got to, and that was also a process. I think it doesn't happen overnight. So me thinking that I've worked so hard to build this business and what does she know, I had to let go of that.
Right.
And thankfully so. In 2015, we came up to this epiphany that we really need to invest in knowledge and growth and learn from people who've been doing this successfully for 20, 30 years, instead of us thinking we know it and then making more mistakes and trying to learn from those mistakes, but we don't have the money to learn from those mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. And what ended up happening, we signed up for the show in Las Vegas. We basically divided and conquered. And we did not go to any of the same classes. She visited the print and the freight classes, and I visited
didn't have print at that time.
They didn't, but they a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you met Marty and the other
I
people
met
who were
Marty,
doing
I
it,
met,
the store owners who were doing
I met other
it.
store owners, and it was basically just the basics of shipping, starting from the ground up.
Oh.
And
Like 101.
the 101, that's the classes that I took, and he took the more advanced ones.
Marketing.
Marketing
I took
freight.
I took freight. I took the 24-hour mailboxes. That's where we got the idea to develop a model for 24-hour
We
mailboxes.
didn't even have mailboxes, and in the shipping industry, someone that is in whole and sole shipping,
You almost
mailboxes is
have
a
to,
must.
right.
Absolutely.
And at the time, too, it was just it was just the front, right?
It was 850 square feet.
It was just that little front room.
Just that little front room with.
It was a garage.
It was really,
Right.
yeah. It was a little.
Garage.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and this is what that's what it looks like.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pictures of that.
yeah, we'll get a picture of that. But so, and we had this vision of adding 50 plus services at that time, where no one could see anything. It was dingy looking, and we came back and we told our landlord, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to help you build it."
See, that, to me, when you told me that, when I first met you, I was like, that doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't.
That
doesn't.
changes everything, too.
It really
It's
does.
another, like, one of those, like, synergistic moments.
It
where
is.
You're like, we chose this place. I always say the past leads the future leads the past. If you're on your path, it's kind of this flow. It's like this continuum, right? It's all a loop.
Yeah, it is.
And in a good loop,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you're in your flow. Like Joseph Campbell says, your path could be right there. And you're over here. And all you get to do is just do this. And you get in your path. Once you get on your path, that type of stuff happens.
It does.
Because that's a huge pivotal moment in your life. Like if this was a movie, that would be that weird moment. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So there you go.
Right.
So now he says,
I'm going to help you build it. We're going to do this. And he starts in 2015, 3 months after we get back from Vegas, in doing a facelift on the building. And then he has a plan to do the expansion. So Seema actually, this business center that we're sitting in is Seema's baby. She basically conceptualized this
I designed it.
wow.
Yep.
in Southwest Airlines, I think, on the plane
I
back.
had many
On the back of a
iterations of
napkin.
it.
Yes, on the back of a napkin.
And I'm thinking, I'm brainstorming, and then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? Why don't we make, because a business center was not an upcoming thing at that time.
Right.
It was just mailboxes, and we were just looking into adding mailboxes. And I'm thinking, computer rentals, yes, that's another thing service that people add, but that's in the main store.
Right.
And we wanted to add the 24-hour mailboxes, so I wanted something that was comfortable,
Sure.
especially for women, to come in at night, that's well lit, spacious enough that they don't feel claustrophobic.
Right.
If someone else is in this area, in this small hallway, if they would have built it the way they wanted to, and feel uncomfortable.
That's
To
huge.
check their mail.
But that's your touch. And that's your awareness.
And when I told our contractor, and he's like,
Now we have attorneys and real estate agents and contractors who, because of the wonderful comfort level that we have provided, thanks to Seema's touch, they're having their meetings here in the business center.
Oh, wow.
Private meetings that they used to go to Tim Hortons for and
Right.
and lose confidentiality. I have an immigration attorney who has meetings with her clients that are really sensitive.
Right here?
That I'm honored right in this space.
Yeah, well, because it begats
Yes.
discomfort
Yeah,
level.
she reserves the room area, so we have to close down everything. But it's a beautiful space,
Yeah.
and it's comfortable. So when your clients are sitting, you're not sitting like this with the clients, and they're
Over a table.
right. And we are, as people know in the community, we are extremely obsessive about keeping this Disney clean. So we have,
But
that's
it
what
is
it
Disney clean.
It has to be. It's not there yet. We still find little
But it speaks.
one dust ball in 3,000 square feet, and
But
we
nobody
go
is that
crazy. But
subversive,
yes,
like you know, you don't see it. You're not supposed to.
Right,
Right.
right.
And so it just works.
Yeah.
There's that beautiful flow, and that you get in space like this. And it feels very private.
Yeah.
So because you're removed in a way, and
Yes.
I've had 100 meetings in stores and Paneras, and it's not conducive really.
No.
It's chaos.
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
it also lends to creativity. It lends to collaborative conversations.
Sure.
You know,
And so now when he put on the expansion, so
this was a parking lot.
that's what I was going to ask. So this was just a lot.
It was a lot.
In the back room of your store was an add-on as well, correct? Or no? Or was that all part
The back room was there,
So-
and that's where we were shoving packages for the drivers to pick up. So, can you imagine?
And that stayed the same. Like that
Stayed the
whole,
same.
pretty much.
Correct.
And so this whole wing went on after that. So it wasn't just this
2,000 plus square feet were added on.
Wow. And so you got your bay now, and you got your door.
Yep. We have a dock door, and you'll be doing a tour of this,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So we've got the warehouse, we've got a packing station, we've got a printing table that we do all our printing on. I mean, it's a makeshift table, but it's coming along.
works, you know.
But we're doing so much printing now. We because of adding new services and diversifying. So in 2015, we took the class. We applied. Tried to apply 100% of the model and 100% of what we learned. We were like sponges. We were like little children in Montessori or pre-K.
But you already had a foundation,
We had a foundation,
which is great.
right? And we were from the very beginning, because we were teaching our kids and we were homeschooling parents. We learned to learn from our kids just as much as they learned from us.
Right.
That was the thing that happened, and that magic helped us transform this into such an amazing thing in the industry that in 2016, I was thankful to teach a class at the same conference that I attended in 2015. So I taught social media class in 2016 in Vegas. And ever since 2015, we really haven't missed any workshop or any class. And at this point, just in 5 years,
Right.
every year we invest $25,000 of our own money into our growth, development, and professional learning.
That's incredible.
Yes.
I don't know any business that does that like this.
Yes, and we sit on now we sit on a nonprofit board. This is our last year because our term is up at the end of the year for the Association of Mail and Business Centers.
Wow.
To be found at ambc.org. And Seema's on the board of directors, and I'm also on the board of directors, and I help run their social media campaigns and work with over 1,100 stores in the country to help them diversify their offerings and help them compete in the marketplace.